You actually thought this would embarrass me? She steps forward, slapping the table with her palm. The clink of her glass rings out, the sharp sound cutting through the chatter of the crowded room. I snap to her, startled. Jacob freezes, his smirk faltering. The silence is thick, charged with the tension that crackles. She stands tall, not backing down. The dim lights from above cast long shadows across the old gymnasium, the echo of voices swirling in the background as the old reunion party continues. But here, in this moment, everything else fades away. Jacob shifts uncomfortably, eyes darting to the glass she's just slapped, then back to her. His hand twitches at his side, unsure. What's this? You think a little joke is gonna throw me off? Emily's voice is low but steady, and the undercurrent of challenge is unmistakable. Her eyes never leave his. The weight of the moment presses down on him, and he blinks, his jaw tightens. Well, Emily. I didn't think you'd still be so touchy about it. He chuckles nervously, trying to brush it off, but his voice cracks. His tone is forced, defensive. Emily tilts her head slightly, her gaze sharp. Touchy? She repeats, her lips curling into a slight, almost imperceptible smile. No, Jacob. It's not that. It's just that you don't know me anymore. The crowd around them seems to hold its breath, watching the scene unfold. A hushed murmur passes through the group as they sense the shift in the air. Jacob looks around, realizing the attention he's drawn. He laughs, trying to regain control of the moment, but his laughter is strained, uncertain. Emily steps closer, her heels clicking on the polished floor with each deliberate step. The smell of the room, cologne, old wood, and lingering perfume, hangs in the air, mixing with the faint buzz of the crowd. She leans in just enough so he can hear, but not too close, keeping the space between them clear. You were right about one thing, she continues, voice quiet but carrying. I'm not who I was. Jacob's eyes narrow, confusion flickering across his face. What's that supposed to mean? He asks, but his voice lacks the confidence it once had. Emily leans back slightly, her gaze never leaving his. She watches as his hands fidget at his sides, betraying his unease. I'm married, Jacob. To someone who actually cares about me. She says it plainly, as if stating the obvious, and the room goes silent for a beat. Jacob's face changes, the smirk dropping completely. He shifts, his posture stiffening. The tension between them thickens as Emily watches his reaction closely. He takes a half step back, eyes flicking to the others around them, sensing the shift in power, the realization slowly dawning on him. His voice cracks as he stammers. I didn't know. How could I have known? Emily raises an eyebrow, the corner of her lips twitching. That's the point, she says, her voice softer now, but still holding its weight. The seconds stretch as if they're the only two people in the room. Jacob opens his mouth to say something, but the words don't come. Emily watches him for a moment longer, her expression unreadable. And then, without another word, she turns and walks away, her heels echoing sharply on the floor as she leaves him standing there, speechless. Emily's hand hovers over the glass she slapped just moments before. The cold surface reflects her narrowed eyes, still locked on Jacob, who stands frozen. His face is a mix of confusion and frustration, the last remnants of his arrogance slipping away. The noise of the crowd fades into the background, replaced by the sound of her heartbeat in her ears. So, is that what you wanted? Jacob's voice cracks, a slight tremble in his tone as he glances at the people around them. Emily doesn't answer immediately, her lips pressing together in a tight line as she waits for him to catch up. He shifts his weight, uncomfortable, but his eyes are still locked on hers. You think you can just throw this in my face? The words are sharp, but there's something about them that feels hollow. Emily tilts her head slightly, her expression unreadable. Throw what in your face? She asks, her voice calm, too calm. That you've moved on? That you've replaced me? He spits out, the words more venomous now, a bitter undercurrent to them. Emily doesn't flinch. She watches him, studying his posture, the way his fingers twitch at his side. The man who once held all the power in their relationship, who could make her feel small with a glance, now seems uncertain, vulnerable. I didn't replace you, Jacob. I simply grew. Her words hang in the air between them, and for a moment he doesn't know how to respond. His mouth opens and closes like he's trying to find the right words but can't. Emily steps back, her heels clicking against the floor with a deliberate rhythm, giving her space, giving him room to breathe. The crowd seems to edge closer, sensing the tension, but no one dares to interrupt. You know, she begins again, her gaze not leaving his. I never thought I'd see you again after all these years. She pauses, the silence stretching as she takes in the faces in the crowd, some familiar, others strangers. But here we are, she finishes softly. Jacob's hand balls into a fist at his side. His eyes narrow. You think I'm just some memory to you now? The sharpness in his voice is back, but this time it lacks its previous certainty. Emily doesn't respond at first. She glances at the glass again, her fingers lightly brushing the rim as she slowly turns to face him fully. The flicker of something, regret perhaps, passes through his eyes, but it's gone almost immediately, replaced by defensiveness. What do you want me to say, Jacob? That I miss you. She laughs, a short, almost humorless sound. You think I'm here for some kind of closure? She shakes her head. You don't get to have that, not from me. Jacob's face reddens, the hurt now evident in his expression, but it's quickly replaced by something darker. You think you're better than me, don't you? You think you've won. The words are sharp, biting, but Emily doesn't let them land. She steps back once more, this time deliberately crossing the space between them. The gap is closing, but it's not the same kind of closeness they once shared. There's a coldness now, a distance between them that wasn't there before. Jacob's breath comes out in short bursts as he stares down at her, the anger boiling under the surface. No, Jacob, she says, her voice quieter now but still strong. I don't think I'm better than you. I think I'm better than who I was when I was with you. Her eyes flash with a quiet intensity. And that's something you'll never understand. The room is so still now that Emily can hear her own breath. The air feels thick with tension, charged with the weight of unspoken words. Jacob stands frozen, his jaw clenched, and then, just as the silence begins to suffocate them both, Emily turns her back to him, walking away slowly. Her footsteps echo against the hardwood floor, the sound reverberating like a closing door. Behind her, Jacob doesn't move. The crowd is hushed, watching her retreat. She stops just as she reaches the edge of the room, her hand brushing against the doorframe as she pauses for a brief moment. And for a fleeting second, she wonders if he'll come after her. But he doesn't. Instead, the silence lingers heavy and final, as she steps out into the hallway, leaving Jacob and their past behind. Emily's fingers linger on the doorframe for a moment before she pushes it open, stepping into the cold hallway. Her breath catches in the air, visible in the dim light. She pauses, letting the noise of the reunion fade behind her. The click of the door shutting is almost final, but her heart is still racing. She doesn't look back. Her hand runs along the wall, steadying herself. The conversation with Jacob replays in her mind, his face etched with surprise, with hurt, but also something darker. She can still feel the weight of his eyes on her as she walked away. The decision to leave wasn't easy, but it was necessary. She can hear footsteps approaching behind her, quickening, followed by a voice. Emily. It's Jacob. He's followed her. She doesn't stop. She doesn't turn. I just need to talk to you, he calls, and his voice sounds desperate now, more urgent than before. What's there left to say? Emily says over her shoulder, her voice cool, but her heart is pounding in her chest. The footsteps grow louder, and she knows he's almost there. She keeps walking, her pace quickening. You think I'm just going to let you walk away like this? The anger is back in his voice, sharper now. I'm not walking away, Jacob, she replies, her voice steady but carrying the weight of the years between them. I'm finally standing up for myself. The words hang in the air, a challenge he wasn't expecting. There's a sharp intake of breath behind her, then silence. For a moment she thinks he might have stopped. But then, you really think you've won? His voice is quieter now, almost incredulous. Emily pauses, and this time she turns to face him. He's standing there, just a few feet away, eyes locked on hers, a mixture of anger and disbelief. He looks different, smaller somehow. The man who used to intimidate her is now standing there, unsure, almost vulnerable. The truth hits her hard, and she doesn't know what to make of it. Jacob takes a step forward, but this time it's slower, more hesitant. What is it you want, Jacob? she asks, her voice softening. Her hand reaches for her purse, the leather strap cool under her fingers. She can feel the weight of the decision pressing down on her. But this time she won't hesitate. I just need to know if you regret it, he says, his voice low. There's a tension in his words, a crack in the mask he's been wearing. Regret what? She asks, her head tilting slightly. Us, he says. Our marriage. Our life together. The words hit her like a punch, and for a moment she almost hesitates. But then she realizes, this isn't about regret. It never was. No, she says firmly, her voice clear. I don't regret leaving. I regret waiting for so long to do it. There's a pause, a long one. Jacob's face shifts. Anger flickers, but it fades, leaving something else behind. You think you're better than me now? His voice cracks just slightly. Emily's gaze hardens, and for the first time, she doesn't feel the need to explain herself. I don't think I'm better, Jacob. I know I am, she says, taking a step back, distancing herself further from him. Her words hit him harder than she expected. He flinches but doesn't speak. For a moment, there's nothing but the sound of her breath and the distant hum of the reunion behind them. The silence stretches, and just when it seems like the tension might snap, she hears a sound. A phone buzzing in her purse. Emily glances down at it, the screen lighting up. It's a message from David, her husband. The sudden reminder of her new life brings a rush of clarity. Jacob sees her glance at the phone and his eyes narrow. Who is it? He demands, his voice sharper now. Emily looks at the phone for a beat before she slips it back into her purse, keeping her eyes on Jacob. Someone who matters. She can see the realization dawn on him. His shoulders slump slightly, the fight draining out of him. For a moment, Emily feels a flicker of pity, but it fades quickly. This is the man who tore her down. The man who thought he could control her. But now he's just a reminder of the past she's leaving behind. I think you should go, Emily says softly. Jacob stands there for a moment, his gaze lingering on her. Then, without another word, he turns and walks away. Emily watches him go, her hand still gripping the strap of her purse. The hallway feels colder now, emptier. She breathes in, letting the silence settle around her. And as the door to the reunion opens behind her, she knows, this is the final step. She's free. Emily pulls her purse tighter against her shoulder as she steps into the cool night air, the weight of the moment still settling on her. She hears the muffled sound of the door to the reunion room swing open behind her, the chatter spilling out into the hallway. But she doesn't turn around. Her hand clenches around the phone in her pocket. Another message from David, he's waiting for her. The warmth of his support floods her chest, but she can't quite shake the tension that lingers in the air. Her heels click against the pavement, a rhythmic sound that contrasts sharply with the silence in her mind. But just as she's about to pull her phone out to text him, a voice stops her dead in her tracks. Emily, it's Jacob again. His voice is softer this time, almost hesitant. She doesn't turn, but she knows he's close. She feels the weight of his presence, the pressure in the air building once more. What is it, Jacob? She asks, her voice sharp but steady. Her hand still rests against the strap of her purse. She waits. He steps forward and she can hear his shoes dragging on the concrete, a step too slow. He pauses. I was wrong. I see that now. His words hang in the air, tentative, almost apologetic. She finally turns around, her eyes meeting his, but she doesn't speak. She simply waits. Jacob shifts uneasily, running a hand through his hair. I didn't treat you the way you deserved. I know that. But can we start over? The words catch in her chest, and for a moment she feels her resolve waver. But then she sees it, the flicker of desperation in his eyes. The way his shoulders sag, the tightness around his mouth. Emily's stomach churns. This wasn't the man she had married. This was a stranger, someone who thought saying sorry would somehow fix everything. Start over, she repeats, her voice low, incredulous. Jacob, it's too late for that. It was never just about what you did or didn't do. It's about everything that led up to this moment. You don't get to erase that. She feels the words settle in her chest, a weight she had been carrying for too long. Jacob's face falls, and for a brief moment she sees the man he used to be, the one who could make her feel small with a glance, the one who never apologized. But now it's different. He's finally broken, but it's too little, too late. He steps closer, his hand reaching out slightly, as if to touch her arm, but Emily pulls away. The sudden movement catches him off guard, and he stumbles slightly, but quickly regains his balance. His eyes widen in shock. "You're still angry?" It's not a question. It's a statement, and the weight of it hangs between them. "I'm not angry," she says firmly. "I'm done." The finality of her words hits him harder than anything she's said before. He takes another step back, his face flushing with the sting of rejection. "You really think you've moved on, don't you?" he says, his voice cracking. Emily doesn't respond immediately. Instead, she glances down at her phone again, the screen lighting up with another message. She glances at it, then back at Jacob. She doesn't need to say anything. The message alone is enough. Jacob watches her, his gaze darkening. "Who is it?" he demands, his voice rising. "Who do you think?" Emily replies, her voice steady, but a small part of her is shaken by his sudden aggression. She sees him falter, the brief flicker of realization in his eyes. But he doesn't move. He just stands there looking at her, as if expecting her to explain. "I'm not who I was when I was with you," she says, each word deliberate. "I'm someone better. Someone stronger. And I won't let you pull me back into your mess." The silence is thick, like the air before a storm. Jacob takes a long breath, his hands balled into fists at his sides. The world around them seems to hold its breath. Then, without another word, he turns and walks away, his steps heavy, slower now. Emily watches him go, feeling the weight lift off her shoulders. But as he disappears into the night, she feels a strange pang in her chest, something she can't quite place. The moment is over, but it's not finished. Not yet. She turns back to the road ahead, her phone vibrating once more in her pocket, but her mind is elsewhere. There's still something left unsaid. She knows she's free, but a part of her wonders if she's really ready to leave everything behind. The question lingers unanswered. Emily's phone buzzes again, the screen lighting up with another message from David. She pulls it from her purse, a faint smile forming as she reads the words. "Can't wait to see you, I'm here." But just as she's about to reply, her phone vibrates a second time, an unexpected number flashing on the screen. It's an unknown caller. She hesitates, fingers hovering over the screen. Her heart skips a beat. It's late, and the reunion is almost over. Her first instinct is to ignore it, but something tells her not to. She answers. "Hello." Her voice is steady, but her mind is already racing. "Emily." It's Jacob's voice. The shock makes her grip the phone tighter. "What do you want?" she asks, her voice more guarded now. I didn't mean for things to go like this. I need to talk to you. There's something you don't know." The words catch her off guard, and for a moment, she wonders if she's imagining it. "What are you talking about?" she asks, a cold edge creeping into her tone. "It's about the divorce," Jacob continues, his voice low. "There's something I didn't tell you. Something you should know." Her stomach tightens, an unease settling in her chest. "What could you possibly have left to say, Jacob?" She takes a slow, deliberate breath, trying to steady herself. His next words come out in a rush, almost pleading. "I never signed the papers. The divorce, Emily, it was never finalized." Her blood runs cold. The room around her seems to shrink, the walls closing in as she stands frozen in the dimly lit hallway. "What do you mean it wasn't finalized?" Her voice is barely a whisper now, the world tilting beneath her. Jacob's voice crackles through the phone, distant yet urgent. "I never signed them. The lawyers never told you? They couldn't locate me. The papers are still here, and they've been waiting for you to sign them, but you never did." Her mind reels. She stumbles backward, bracing herself against the wall. This changes everything. The weight of his words hits her like a freight train. The air feels thick, suffocating. She wasn't free. Not yet. Not at all. "You've got to be kidding," she says, her voice shaking. "This can't be real." "I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. Emily, I was going to tell you, I didn't know how." The silence between them stretches, and Emily feels the floor beneath her seem to fall away. "You don't get to do this now, Jacob. Not after everything," she snaps, her breath shallow. "I've moved on. I have a life, a real one. You're not a part of it anymore. But even as she says the words, she knows the truth. Her past with him isn't finished. Not yet. Not until this is resolved. Her hand tightens around the phone, her knuckles white. The truth she thought she knew, the life she had finally built, was now hanging by a thread. I just needed you to know, Jacob says, his voice softening. I'm not asking you to come back. I want you to know the truth. The words hang in the air. A confession that cuts deeper than anything she expected. She wants to hang up, to walk away, but she can't. Not yet. I'll think about it, she says, her voice a low murmur. The call ends and Emily stands there, the phone still pressed to her ear as the silence creeps in around her. Her head spins and she feels a wave of nausea wash over her. This revelation, this lie, how could she have missed it? How could she have been so sure of everything when she was wrong about something so big? A soft sound from inside the reunion hall pulls her from her thoughts. The distant laughter, the clinking of glasses. She realizes she's still standing outside. She's still on the edge of her past, not yet ready to step fully into the life she's built with David. But now there's a new uncertainty, a new question she doesn't know how to answer. She turns and walks back toward the door, but her steps are slower this time, the weight of the truth pressing down on her shoulders. She's not free. Not yet. Emily's phone vibrates again, the screen flashing with another message from David. She pulls it out, but her hands are shaking, and she hesitates before reading it. Her heart pounds as she notices the time. 2:15 a.m. The message is simple. Where are you? She doesn't reply immediately, her thumb hovering over the screen. The weight of Jacob's revelation hangs heavily in the air, suffocating her. She feels the cool night air biting at her skin, the city lights casting long shadows down the street. Her breath catches as she glances back toward the reunion hall, the sound of distant laughter and music, a faint hum in the background. The past few hours feel like a blur. She thought she was free, but now she's unsure. What did I miss? She mutters to herself. The thought gnaws at her. Jacob's words echo in her mind, relentless, even though she doesn't want them to. The divorce was never finalized. She clenches the phone in her hand, the weight of the truth too much to carry alone. A soft sound interrupts her thoughts, a light tap of heels on the pavement. She turns quickly. It's David, his figure coming into view, silhouetted by the streetlight. He looks concerned, his brow furrowed as he takes in her tense posture. Emily, he calls out, his voice warm, but there's an edge to it now. The calm she'd grown used to with him is slipping. What's going on? You didn't answer my messages. His eyes move from her phone to her face, then to the ground where she's standing frozen. She opens her mouth to respond, but the words get stuck in her throat. For a moment, she doesn't know how to explain. She thought she'd left everything behind, but now she feels trapped again. David steps closer, his presence solid and reassuring. But she can't bring herself to meet his gaze. I need to talk to you, she says, her voice tight. David's face softens. Talk to me? About what? She hesitates, fighting back the flood of emotions threatening to overtake her. About Jacob. She says it in a whisper, and David's expression shifts, uncertainty flickering across his face. Jacob? What about him? His voice sharpens just a little. Emily takes a breath, her gaze still cast down at her feet. It's not over. The divorce. It was never finalized. The words hang in the air between them, and for a moment, it's like the world stops. David's jaw clenches, his eyes narrowing. What do you mean it wasn't finalized? The words hit him harder than she expected. His voice is steady, but the edge in it tells her that he's not sure how to react. Emily looks up at him, seeing the concern in his eyes, the worry. But it doesn't feel like it used to. This wasn't the man she could rely on to make everything okay. He never signed the papers, she continues, her voice shaking. Jacob never signed them. He told me just now. David stares at her, the shock slowly sinking in. He opens his mouth to speak but stops, his lips pressed tight. For a moment the silence is suffocating, and then he finally speaks. So what does that mean for us? His question hangs in the air, the gravity of it pulling her down. Emily doesn't have an answer. She doesn't know what it means for them, for their future. for the life she thought she was building. She wanted to tell him that nothing had changed, that they could keep moving forward, but the truth feels like it's swallowing her whole. It means everything's still a lie, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. It means that none of this is real. The divorce, the life I built. It's all been based on a lie. David steps back, running a hand through his hair in frustration. The air between them crackles with the tension of unspoken words. Emily feels the distance grow, like something between them has shifted irreparably. I don't know what to do with this, she murmurs, her voice cracking. I thought I had it all figured out, and now. David interrupts, his voice harsh. Now you don't know if you're even really free? She nods slowly, the weight of his words sinking in. She feels exposed, her past laid bare in front of her. The last thing she wants is to drag David into this mess, but she's already done it. I need time, she says, her throat tight. I need to figure this out. The look David gives her is unreadable. He stands there for a moment, the tension palpable between them. Then he turns and walks away, his footsteps echoing in the quiet night. Emily watches him go, her heart sinking. She's lost something tonight, but she doesn't know yet if it's him or the life she thought she had. The question hangs in the air as she stands in the shadows of the street lamp, alone again. What now? Emily stands in the empty hallway, her phone still pressed to her ear. The sound of David's footsteps fades into the distance, but her mind is still racing. Her hand tightens around the phone as she replays Jacob's voice in her head. The papers were never signed. The words echo, bouncing off the walls of her thoughts. She takes a shaky breath, feeling the weight of the truth slowly settle in. For a moment, everything around her feels surreal, like she's trapped in a dream she can't wake up from. The phone buzzes in her hand again. It's David. The tension in her chest tightens. She takes another breath, her thumb hovering over the screen, but this time she doesn't answer. She needs time. The silence between them lingers like a wound that hasn't healed. Slowly, she steps back toward the reunion hall, but her eyes are focused elsewhere now. The door is slightly ajar, and through the crack, she can see the last of the guests filtering out. The sound of laughter and clinking glasses slowly dies as the night wears on. She reaches for the door, her fingers brushing the handle. She hesitates. The weight of the situation presses down on her, and for a moment she wonders if she should just walk away. But as her hand grips the door, she hears a soft voice behind her. Emily, it's Jacob. She freezes, the familiar sting of his voice making her heart skip. She turns slowly, but this time her eyes are harder, her stance firmer. What now? She asks, her voice low, sharp. Jacob steps into the dim light of the hallway, his face tense, but this time, there's something different about him. His posture is more relaxed, but there's still a flicker of regret in his eyes. I just need you to listen, he says, his voice softer now. You deserve to know the full truth. Emily clenches her jaw. The truth? I thought you just gave me that. You told me the divorce was never finalized. Jacob nods, his eyes briefly glancing down at the floor, avoiding her gaze. There's more to it. I made a mistake. The words feel heavy, like they're scraping his throat, unwilling to leave. Emily's pulse quickens, but she doesn't say anything. She watches him carefully, waiting for the next part. I didn't just never sign the papers, he continues, his voice shaky now. I couldn't, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to be done with you. I was hoping you'd fight for us. The air between them grows thicker, and for the first time, Emily feels a shift in the tension. It's like a dam breaking, the dam she had been holding together, holding back the truth. You've got to be kidding me, she says, her voice cracking, her grip on the door tightening. You didn't sign the papers because you were waiting for me to fight for us? Jacob doesn't respond immediately. He just stands there, eyes still on the floor, clearly avoiding her gaze. Emily takes a step forward, her breath shallow now. You were waiting for me to fight, she repeats, her words slow, deliberate, as if trying to make sense of it. And all this time I thought you'd moved on. I thought you didn't care anymore. The truth stings more than she expected. Jacob's face flushes with something like shame, and for the first time in a long time she really sees him vulnerable, raw. I was wrong, he says, his voice almost a whisper. I thought if I gave you space you'd come back. I I thought if I let you go, you'd see that I was still here, still willing to try. Emily feels a flicker of something inside her. A brief moment of sympathy, but it's quickly buried under a wave of disbelief. You think after everything, I'm just going to turn back around? Her voice is cold now, hard. She doesn't recognize the person who's standing in front of her. She doesn't want to. I'm done, she says, each word a finality. The finality that she had been trying to convince herself of for so long. She turns away, stepping toward the door again. But just as she reaches for the handle, Jacob's voice cuts through the air again. Emily, please. She freezes. The words feel like a plea, and for a second she feels the pull of something, nostalgia maybe, or regret. But then she shakes her head. No, she says, not turning to face him. It's too late. She opens the door and steps back into the night. The cool air hits her face, and for a moment, she feels a strange sense of relief. But as she walks away, her phone buzzes again in her pocket. This time she takes it out, staring at the screen. It's a new message from David. I'm waiting outside. Please, let's talk. She stops, her heart pounding in her chest. The night is cold, but the uncertainty is colder still. What now? Emily's phone buzzes again, the familiar ping sending a jolt through her. She takes it out of her pocket, her breath catching when she sees David's name on the screen. I'm outside. Let's talk. The words are simple, but the weight of them pulls at her chest. The door to the reunion hall is still slightly ajar, the remnants of laughter spilling into the night. She's standing between two worlds now. One that's already slipping away and another that she isn't sure she's ready to step into. She stares at the message for a moment, her fingers trembling slightly as she hovers over the keys. David's calm, reassuring presence should be a relief. But Jacob's words, the revelation of the unsigned papers, have her heart twisted in knots. I'm still legally tied to him. The thought claws at her, and she feels the weight of the past hanging over her like a dark cloud. She doesn't respond right away, stepping outside and onto the cool, quiet street. The air is thick with the sound of her own thoughts, the soft hum of traffic in the distance, the only sound breaking the silence. She takes a deep breath. Then, as if on instinct, she presses her thumb against the screen, typing a reply. I'm coming. She hits send and pockets the phone, her feet moving toward the corner of the street where David waits. As she rounds the corner, she sees him leaning against a sleek black car, the low hum of the engine barely audible. He's dressed in a sharp suit, his posture relaxed but his expression unreadable. The night feels different now. There's a tension in the air, a quiet energy between them. Emily's breath catches in her throat. This is it, the moment she's been running from. She stops a few feet away from him, her eyes scanning his face. David. Her voice is steady, but there's something in her tone that gives her away. What's going on? He asks, his voice low, calm, but with an edge of concern. He pushes off from the car and steps toward her, his eyes never leaving hers. Are you all right? Emily opens her mouth to speak, but the words catch in her throat. The truth she's been holding inside feels like it's finally bubbling to the surface. But the weight of it feels unbearable, and she isn't sure if she can say it aloud. She takes a step closer, feeling the space between them shrink. Her heart races, her mind a storm of conflicting emotions. She finally speaks, her voice softer now. I don't know what to do anymore. The words hang between them, and she watches as David's expression shifts, his brow furrowing with concern. You're not alone in this, Emily, he says, his voice a gentle assurance. He reaches out, his hand brushing against hers. The simple touch feels grounding, a tether to the calm she's so desperately seeking. But her mind isn't settled. Her heart is still in turmoil. She pulls her hand back slowly, a hesitant distance forming between them. There's something I have to tell you, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. David's gaze sharpens, but he doesn't press her. He waits, giving her the space to speak her truth. It's Jacob, she continues, her eyes flicking to the ground. He told me that the divorce wasn't finalized, that he never signed the papers. David's jaw tightens slightly, but he doesn't say anything right away. He steps closer, his presence comforting but also imposing in a way that makes Emily feel exposed. She holds her breath as she waits for his response. You're still legally married to him? David's voice is steady, but there's a new edge to it now. something more protective. Emily nods slowly. I didn't know. I thought it was done. I thought. She trails off, her eyes flicking to the ground. I thought I was free. A long silence stretches between them. David watches her carefully, his hand still resting by his side, but his stance more protective now. What are you going to do about it? He asks, his voice soft but firm. The question is simple, but it's a heavy one. And for the first time, Emily doesn't know the answer. Her eyes search David's face, looking for something. Reassurance, guidance, strength, but she doesn't find it. Instead, she finds a man who is offering his support, but not his control. She's on her own here. She takes a step back, her chest tightening. I don't know, she whispers. But I can't keep living like this. The words feel like a declaration, a line in the sand she can't take back. David doesn't move. He doesn't try to fix it or make her feel better. He simply stands there watching her, giving her the space she needs to make her decision. And then, without another word, she turns away, her heels clicking on the pavement as she walks toward the street corner. Her mind is still spinning, the weight of Jacob's words and David's silence settling heavily on her. She doesn't know what comes next, but she knows one thing. She has to face this alone. The night feels colder now, the uncertainty wrapping around her like a shroud. And with each step, she feels the past and the future pressing in on her from all sides. She's standing on the edge, unsure which way to go. And the choice feels heavier than ever before. Emily's fingers hover over her phone once more. The words "I'm coming" had already been sent, and now, standing just outside the streetlight's glow, she can't bring herself to take another step toward David. The air is thick, almost suffocating, the cool breeze barely cutting through the tension that hangs heavy in the night. She glances down at her phone one last time, the screen lighting up with a message from Jacob, but she doesn't open it. Her mind spins in circles, the weight of Jacob's revelation lingering, casting a long shadow over her thoughts. She steps back, but not far. Her heels click against the pavement as she stands there for a moment, gathering her resolve. She doesn't look back, but she feels the pull of something, a sense of unfinished business tugging at her heart. Her hand slips into her purse and pulls out a simple keychain, an old worn charm she's carried with her for years. The weight of it, small yet significant, grounds her. She looks at it, and for the first time in hours, a small smile tugs at the corner of her lips. It's a reminder of everything she's fought for, everything she's worked to build. The phone buzzes again, and she doesn't hesitate this time. She taps the screen, reading David's message. Please, let's talk. The words are simple, but they cut through the confusion. Emily knows what she has to do. She takes a steadying breath and walks toward him. The streetlights flicker above her as she approaches, and the cool air feels less like a burden now, more like the start of something new. When she sees him, leaning casually against the sleek black car, she's no longer weighed down by uncertainty. He straightens as she gets closer, his eyes locking onto hers. Emily, he says, his voice steady, reassuring, but with a hint of concern. She stops in front of him, her heart pounding but her breath steady. David. She hesitates for just a moment, her fingers still gripping the keychain, a steadying anchor. I have to be honest with you. Jacob. She stops herself before saying anything more. The words feel heavy, and for the first time she realizes something. She doesn't need to explain everything. Not now. Not to him. I'm still tied to him, she says, her voice firm. The divorce, it was never finalized. David's eyes narrow slightly, and for a brief moment, she expects the disappointment, the anger, the judgment. But instead his eyes soften and he steps toward her, closing the space between them. You don't have to carry that burden anymore, he says quietly, his voice a calm anchor in the midst of the storm. I'm not here to judge you, Emily. I'm here for you. His words settle in her chest, grounding her. The weight of the decision, the confusion, the fear, it all melts away in the warmth of his gaze. Emily takes a deep breath. I know, she whispers, but I need to figure this out for myself. I need to be the one to make this right. There's a pause, and David simply nods, his gaze unwavering, offering her a steady reassurance. He doesn't try to fix it or make it go away. He simply stands there, present, allowing her the space she needs. Take your time, he says softly, his voice gentle but filled with understanding. Emily looks up at him, her heart finally beginning to settle. The storm inside her has quieted, not because the answers are all there, but because she now knows she's not alone in this. The uncertainty still lingers, but now it feels like something she can navigate, something she can control. She reaches out, her hand brushing against his. The simple gesture feels like a promise, and in that moment, she realizes something important. It's not about having all the answers. It's about trusting herself enough to make the decisions that matter, even when the answers aren't clear. They stand there, together, the weight of the past still hovering in the background but not defining the moment. A new chapter is unfolding, and it begins right here in the quiet of the night. As Emily looks up, the streetlights casting a soft glow on them, she feels a sense of peace wash over her. The future is still uncertain, but she knows now that she can face it. And with David by her side, she's ready to take the next step. The car is parked there, waiting, a symbol of the choices yet to come. But for now, she's not thinking about what lies ahead. She's just living in the moment, embracing the calm after the storm. With a final glance toward David, she knows that this is the beginning of something new. A future where she chooses her own path, her own truth. And as she steps into the car, her hand finds his once more, and she feels the weight of the world lift. The door closes softly behind them, and as the car pulls away into the night, the city fades into the distance, leaving only the sound of their breathing steady and sure.